This is your monochromatic landscape painting. Monochromatic is using one color to create an artwork. For mine, I chose blue and create tints and shades of it with paint. If you don't have paint, you can still do the same thing with colored pencils or crayons. As you'll see in this one, I used crayons and just simply didn't press as hard on the lighter areas to make tints. And then I mixed black with my crayons whenever I did the shades. So we're going to discuss the difference between a hue, a tint, a tone, and a shade. A hue is the pure color, like in your color wheel or out of a bottle of paint. When we add white to that, we start to create a tint. So we can get lighter tints of blues, whatever it is, by adding white or not pressing as hard. A tone is when we add gray, so both white and black to the color. And a shade is where we add black to make it darker. If you're using paint, you can watch the first half of this video. But if you don't have paint and you want to use crayons or colored pencils, you can skip ahead to the second half of the video. For the monochromatic landscape, what you want to do is we're going to have different layers to this to begin with. And then you're going to need paint or crayons, colored pencils, whatever works best for you. For my landscape, if I want something in my foreground, it's always towards the bottom of my paper and it's large. So let's say I have my tree, I have some grass down here, and we're just going to see the silhouettes. So remember, the silhouettes are just the outline of it. So not a lot of detail at all, but here's my grass. Maybe I have like a swing set close to me. You can put whatever you want on yours. So now everything that's going to be on this layer is going to be the same color. I'm going to put a second layer back here of just the ground. Maybe I have a little tree way back there. Probably won't be that tiny yet. Then I'm going to put a third layer, get some hills in here, and then a fourth layer, some mountains, and then my fifth layer is my sky. If you want to have another layer, like mountains really far in the back, you can. It's completely up to you. But what we're going to do on each layer, we're painting it a different color. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to start with layer 3. Depending on what color you want your monochromatic painting to be, that's the color you're going to start with. I'm going to have mine be blue. So the color right out of the tube, or if you grab like a regular color blue, regular color red, out of your color pencils, crayons, whatever it is, go ahead and get that ready. Find your layer 2, or your layer 3, sorry, and everything that's in between these lines, between 3 and 2, I'm going to paint. So I need to paint around this tree or color around this tree because it's not on layer 3. It can get a little confusing, but you guys have got this. It might work best if you kind of outline the layer at the top and then the top of the layer below it. Don't forget over here would still be layer 2. So I'm painting this, we're coloring it the color like straight up blue. Again, you can use red, you can use purple, whatever color you want to use, put on there. I just chose blue. Like Picasso's blue period. Okay. we're going to go a little opposite with our painting. The farther away we get, the lighter we're going to make it. So in order to make my blue lighter, I need white added to it. Not like a super duper light blue, but kind of a medium. So that means this layer is going to be a lighter blue. And I paint all of that in. Oh, these dogs. Mixing it works really good if you have, or really well, if you have a paper plate or even like wax paper, aluminum foil to put down as a paint palette. That way you can just throw it away. It's less cleanup. Okay, then in my background, I'm gonna have it the lightest blue that I can. So I keep making tints of it. If you have more layers than me, you're just gonna keep adding light or white to it, lighter shade, lighter tint. If you aren't using paint, don't press as hard or find a lighter color of blue, a tint of blue. So we're also creating depth by using different colors or different tints and shades for our monochromatic painting. Now if I'm doing tints at the top, then I'm going to be making shades at the bottom. So I'm going to wash my brush out and move down to layer 2. To make a shade, you need a darker version of that color. So I just add a little, I get my blue, get a little bit of black, mix it together, because you do want to see a difference between your original one and your darker one. This is where kids get a little funky. But I have this layer. That's pretty dark, so I might add a little more blue to it. And actually, I add a little bit of white because it was so dark that I still want to see a difference between 2 and 1. There we go. It kind of turned out teal. Since it's going to be hard for me to go all around that swing set, I'm just going to paint on top of it and then come back whenever I do my first layer and paint it. Another thing that people forget is that tree. That tree's on that layer, so I need to paint that. Remember, we're just kind of doing silhouettes. If you run out of that color mixing can be a little difficult, so you kind of have to experiment with your shades, with your colors as you go. Because since I ran out, I didn't want the color to completely change before I got done with it. All right, then in my foreground, which is super close to me, which will be this tree in the ground, it needs to be a really dark, dark blue, almost black. With the grass, I can add the texture in the grass. Sorry if you can hear my dogs playing behind me. Or if you have that black crayon or black color pencil, try mixing that pretty hard with your blue crayon or colored pencil on your paper. I don't want to see white on my paper. That's why I'm trying to go back and overlap. Okay, then for my swing set, make 2 letter A's. I can have the seat coming down. However you want to make yours. It's all up to you. So have fun with this, either with a crayon, colored pencil, whatever you choose to do. I can't wait to see them. The landscape you could do, if you like, is more of a desert landscape. So if I start in my foreground, maybe I have a big cactus up here. It'll be on this ground. We have some rocks kind of piling up. This is my first layer. Go up a little bit for a second layer. Maybe I have a cactus a little bit farther away. Some more rocks or sand dunes, even farther. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I need one more line. Maybe I have some hills way in the background, some sand dunes. You can add whatever you want to each layer. Maybe some Mayan ruins way in the back. It's all up to you. So if you have crayons or colored pencils instead, and you don't have paint, that's perfectly okay. I have a lot of different shades of red and colored pencils, but if you don't, or if you just have crayons and you don't have a lot of different shades, we can still create tints and shades with it. So this red's considered a violet red. I'm gonna find my pure, there's my pure red. So in this middle layer is going to be my pure red. Anything that's on this layer, I'm also going to color. Anything that's like growing on top of it. It might help you if you outline where you need to color first and then just color that in. Okay, a little bit higher up. I'm not going to press as hard with my crayon, so I'm still getting a tint just by not pressing as hard. Hopefully you're taking your time more. And then my sky, I don't press nearly as hard. Maybe I leave some more white in between to really get a light red tint. I do have a white crayon that I could even color on top and see if that makes a difference, but I cannot find it right now. All right, these 2 layers, since we went tint and got lighter, we're going to add shades to get darker underneath. So I'm going to use that red color in this second layer. And you could do this with colored pencils easily, or if you have different shades and tints of whatever colors you're using with colored pencils, you're more than welcome to do that as well. I'm coloring all this. Again, I hope you're taking your time more. I just want to show you what this would look like completed with crayon. Then this is kind of lighter, if not the same color as the layer above it. So we need to show a difference by adding shading. If you get a black crayon or colored pencil, lightly put black on top. That's going to make your red darker if you don't have a darker red. And then the last layer, same thing. It's going to be our darkest though. So I'm pressing harder with my crayon. And I want to see the difference between my layers. Usually when things are closer to us, they tend to look lighter. But for this project, we're going to make it kind of look more like silhouettes, like the sun is setting. So I'm going to press harder with my black crayon. To create that shade. All right, can't wait to see them when they're done. Again, the difference between the crayon and the paint, it's up to you what colors you want to use and all of that, but just have fun with it. I can't wait to see them.